Maggie Lena Walker, also in the 1800s, really a fantastic African-American woman who launched a bank in Richmond, Virginia, specifically to support African-American families and help them build bank accounts. The membership got to 50,000 people. She helped 600 of them become homeowners. In the same time period, of course, other banks were exploiting and not helping Black families because of all of the bias and racism that we know existed, and maybe some hasn't gone away today. But this bank set the stage for generational wealth in Virginia. And she was operated as its president until 1934. It's incredible. This bank has persisted. It survived the 1929 crash, and the groundwork of it still lives on in the premier bank of West Virginia today. It did not go away. Through a number of acquisitions, it still exists. Now, the really amazing thing about Maggie is that if you roll forward that initial home ownership and the initial wealth that she helped those families create, we're talking about $1 billion of generational wealth exists today because of the work she did helping those families have bank accounts in the early 1900s. This is incredible, the amount of effort that she did to help those families, and African-American families have generational wealth today. It was her. Her superpower, financial strategist, and a master community builder. She knew everybody, moms, dads, grandparents, kids. She knew how they interacted. She was like shaking hands, holding babies kind of person. That's what she did all over the neighborhood. Now, in that day and age, if somebody was doing that, and of course women were relationship driven, that's the superpower we have, it got considered charity work. It wasn't valued. Because she knew her, she was chatty. She walked around and knew everybody, right? We get characterized that way. It happens to women all the time. She built a bank. She built generational wealth based on the superpower of relationships. I have two more. Janie Sims, modern day. Indigenous background. She's an incredibly sharp economist. She has been deep in the UN, building policy, driving initiatives to make sure the indigenous population can maintain their ability to own their land, have 10 minutes, I'll go a little faster. To have the rights to their land, to maintain food security, to have the right kind of food systems around the land that they've been on for years. $1.5 to $3 billion in long-term economic impact around native land and labor, retained and built by Janie. She's an expert economist. She is patient and protective in her leadership style. She is a heart-led leader. Now that can be considered soft. We go, oh, she's not that ambitious. She's really quiet. But her impact is huge. Feminine traits that are driving a huge impact in the work she's doing for Indigenous people. I've got one more. Eileen Lee, in venture capital. She's a dear friend of mine. She would probably laugh if she knew I put her in this deck. She coined the term unicorn. Came from her in an article in 2015. Now, the men in venture capital walk around saying unicorn all the time as if they created it, as if they thought of it. It was Eileen, right? The entire talk track in venture changed as soon as that word landed out in the atmosphere. It is how we make decisions. It is how we choose the companies we invest in. She also launched an organization called Always, which is bringing more women into check writing roles and into the ecosystem as investors. She's completely changed the conversation in venture with the work she's done around diversity and inclusion. Now, a unicorn today represents $4 trillion of wealth that's been generated because of unicorn companies that have been invested in and that have exited. Unicorn means it's worth $1 billion. That's what that represents, just to make sure I'm adding definitions as I go. Her lens for cultural inclusion is what drove her definition of unicorn. The traits of great leaders, leaning on diversity, bringing thoughtfulness to how businesses are built, really making sure we're not just running after growth, but we're actually making sure those companies are sustainable. That's how she identifies who she invests in. That was her definition of unicorn. Changed how we think about venture. Now, leaning into cultural diversity, if you're in venture, I do this, it matters to the companies I invest in, can often get considered a lack of experience because you're maybe not investing in repeat founders. You're looking for new ones. You're out looking for women. You're out looking for people of color because historically it's been white guys in hoodies. I'm not investing in white guys in hoodies. I'm investing in women and people of color. A lot of those people are not repeat founders. This is what she's been doing. She's 4 funds in. She has nearly $1 billion under management. It works. So superpowers have changed the world, right? We have to recast things as superpowers. And these feminine traits are superpowers. Now, I'm going to skip this page and go a little faster. When we listen with superpowers, when we listen with bias, we're missing something. When we listen with superpowers, we get more powerful with the storytelling. And it's not just true for women. It works for men too. I'll give you 3 examples really quickly. Barack Obama, highly empathetic storyteller, leads with inclusion. There's a few presidents that have done this really well. His policies have lasted longer. He had much more inclusion in his cabinet. He had much more inclusion in the policy coalitions that he built. When his mastery of words, he does it all the time, he still does it. It's empathy-led. It has helped him be successful to master his feminine traits, and he uses them all the time. Nelson Mandela, same thing. Leads with forgiveness, leads with inclusion, and he changed a nation by doing that. Tom Falk, he may not be as familiar. He was the CEO of Kimberly-Clark for about 10 years. He had a focus on care and inclusion-based leadership. That is what he wanted to do. Under his leadership, the increase in women in director roles went up by 71%. Revenues went up from $19.1 billion to $21.2 billion, and their stock price doubled under his leadership. He led with care and inclusion. Leaned in, leaned forward with his feminine traits. It's a completely different way to harness both his male and female superpowers, and all 3 of them did it. So what I want us to do is find all of those things that we can do, flex everything that we can, and leave behind the bias, leave behind the structures that we've been conditioned with, and have the permission to do everything that we know how to do. If we do that, we change the world. We change who we are, we show up in rooms differently, we treat each other differently, and we literally change the world. So my question for all of you, I think I'm going to be okay. My question for all of you is, what's your superpower? Thank you. Good? All right, yeah.
How cool is that? I'm not the only guy working on his feminine side. I'm in good company. So thank you so much. I hope you get a chance to. Did you mention your documentary? I was busy over there.
I can.
Yeah, do it.
Okay. I'll add one more thing. There's a documentary that released last year. Well, it's not, you can't go to a theater yet, it's coming, called Show Her the Money. It's all about increasing funding for female founders. I'm one of the associate producers. And it's an incredible story. There's 2 funds in it. One of the funds is mine, there's one other. Follows the story of 4 female founders, how they raise capital, the companies they're building, and goes through all the data and insight on what's going on in venture capital and how we shift the narrative when we bring more women in as investors. It's phenomenal. There's a couple of screenings in LA over the next couple months that you can find. If you go to showherthemoneymovie.com, you'll find the list of the screenings. Check it out. It's amazing. Bring your friends.